next presenter is Copeland Downs, and he is influenced by industrial process.
So I don't have any flashy drawings or renderings to express a sense of place or anything like that, or clever word phrases there. But I'll start with a self-portrait that reflects a concise and effective portrayal of an idea and concept, something that I struggle with, but I'm striving for. This poster also hints at the influence of the out-of-proportion and complex machinery of the industrial process that is dark and worn down, but that openly expresses its functionality. So this first project is a first-year project, and I was interested in the texture. I used a heavy gray slate and took a rectilinear volume and cut it into slices and rotated it to give such a weighty mass the feeling of movement in that sense. During this imagined burial process, our group explored the movement as a part of a larger process where villagers would pour water into the large drum down a channel. And the drum is heated from below, which boils the water and turns it into steam. This change of phase is thought of as the soul leaving the body, and the condensation on the cold stone shelter is a reminder of the knowledge and experience that the deceased shared with the family and village while they were alive. Color is another strong indicator of wear and tear that machines undergo. This idea was so ingrained that in our review for the sensory box, the color and mass overrode the playfulness our group asserted the form would encourage. I mean, doesn't that look fun? So I'll claim failure on that it didn't support the exploration of smells that were coming out of each of the little doors carefully placed up the spiraling box. I started realizing more clearly my interest in kinetics while developing this model for a studio project this past fall. It was a visitor center for Skinner's Butte Park. This generative physical model embodies the idea that you can better understand the way that a system works by interacting with it. So pushing down one side raises the other two. I fell in love with the idea that a spectator can see how the simple machines work because something's happening. And I think that creates a more intimate connection. As the project materialized, my studio professor offered a humbling lesson. She came to me and said, basically architects have one job, and that's to keep water out of buildings. So it's beneficial for me to learn the detriments of kinetics early on, and although I'm scared of being doomed to a life designing children's museum exhibits or giant Rube Goldberg machines, firms like Olson Kundig and Turner Exhibits give me hope that there is a place for movement in architecture. And hopefully there is, because that's the way that I work best in my process. It helps me to be able to hold and touch and move things in order to understand them. These mobiles are a side project that I've kind of taken up in the past few weeks. And fabricating them and putting together and trying to hang them and balance them is a lot more beneficial to me than sitting down with the paper and trying to figure out the math for it. Because eventually it all just gets muddled in my head and I kind of get lost. But I don't care quite as much about the flashy displays of wealth and progress. This is a 1995 rural studio project in Alabama, and I think it exemplifies what I believe about architecture. Beautiful composition, reusing materials, and beautiful spaces for people to use. And this is what I get excited about. This is what inspires me, is this idea of reusing materials in a beautiful way. So that's where my interest in the industrial process and my kind of passion for social equality meet. And this is my first step down that road. A few friends last term and over the break worked on this competition board for a playground design in Thailand. And we didn't quite get to the innovative use of materials that we wanted because it was over the winter break and we were all in different cities. But it was an interesting experience for me to learn about working on a budget and for people. So this is just a quick generative collage that we didn't actually end up using in our board, but is to simply say that I can't quite see where I'm headed, but I know that I can see things that I like. And as a final thought, I think it's important to understand architecture as a reflection of self. I create things that show people how they work because that is how I learn and understand best.